Zenos, the healer who defied every expectation, now finds himself at the center of a new plot full of intrigue and mystery. After facing a deadly golem, he discovers that the real enemy is much closer than he thought, the guide who operates from the shadows of the underground guild. While Zenos struggles to find his place at the royal hospital, where lives are shaped by power and privilege, he's confronted with challenges both unexpected and unimaginable. And hey, shout out to my #1 healer. How you doing? All good with you? Just dropping by real quick to ask you to hit that subscribe button and drop a like on this video to show some love. Got some new stuff coming up, man. Some solid anime. So keep your eyes open so you don't miss a thing, alright? Now let's not waste time and jump right into the video. Krishna says they investigated the golem attack and found out the guide was the one behind it. Zenos replies that he'll remember him because the guy still has to pay for the damage he caused. Zofia adds that the guy lives alone and started working in the underground guild. Krishna points out that he erased his own tracks, but the leaders think he'll come back and is already plotting his next target. She asks them to drop the theories, but the group starts arguing anyway. Zenos tells everyone to calm down and kicks them out of the clinic, since the last thing he wants is a fight breaking out in there. She notices he looks tired and thinks about inviting him to the hot springs, but Sophia jumps in first and steals the idea. He agrees, but soon the other girls show up too, all inviting him along. Zenos decides to go with all of them, still wondering what's so special about hot springs. Carmilla, laughing at the competition, also tags along. In the men's bath, Zofia shows up saying she put up a cleaning in progress sign so they wouldn't be disturbed. She comments she never thought everyone would get along, and says that Zenos might even be able to change the world. But then she starts getting a little too close, revealing she was distracting him so she could actually grab hold of him. Before she manages to, Linga barges in and goes for him. The two of them start fighting over him, and then Loba rises from the water. Krishna shows up too, and it's the same thing. Everyone after Zenos. Annoyed because he can't relax at all, he tells each one to go back to their own bath. In the women's bath, Umin is surprised at such a mixed group. Lowe brags about her figure, which makes Lily jealous of her small chest, until she realizes Umin's the same way. Carmilla says size isn't everything, and maybe Zenos even prefers the smaller ones. But Lily notices something's off. Carmilla looks see-through. Umin realizes she's a ghost and tries to exorcise her, but Carmilla flies off. Umin looks back, thinks she was just imagining things, and drops it. Later, Zenos has dinner with the girls, but realizes Krishna isn't there. She explains that she doesn't want to be seen with demi-humans since she's a royal knight. After Lily goes to bed, he talks with Carmilla, complaining he couldn't enjoy the meal because of all the drinking. He finds out she's only there because she possessed Lily's staff, and when he tries to bring up her past, she dodges the subject at all costs. The next day, an explosion goes off in the kitchen. Umin finds the chef with a burned arm and tries to heal him, but says the case needs advanced magic from the royal hospital. Zenos shows up, finds out it was a fire, and decides to heal the man right there, for free. Umin is shocked by the instant recovery and runs to tell his superior, Becker. After hearing the description, Becker decides to look for Zenos, assuming he must have been living in the slums without proper registration. Becker arrives, but Zenos notices he's got a disease known as red lung, one that was already eradicated. Umin steps in and reveals that Becker only faked the illness with a drug, just so he could meet him. He's actually an elite healer from the Royal Hospital, and the one who developed the cure for several diseases, including that very one. Seeing Zenos' coat hanging, he asks about his master, but Zenos says he doesn't know the name. Becker invites him to work at the hospital to help solve a problem, but the girls show up and try to send him away. So Becker changes tactics and frames it as if it were just a commission. Zenos accepts, saying it's good to have the Royal Hospital as an ally, since they've saved so many lives in the slums. Becker then promises to tell him everything about his master once the job is done, and welcomes him into the group. Zenos arrives at the Royal Hospital and is called by Becker, who explains his mission: investigate the disappearances. Now Zenos is a special research student, able to attend the hospital's programs while disguised as a healer who returned from abroad. Becker guarantees no one will question his identity, since an elite healer will be vouching for him. In the dorm, he finds Lily and Umin, who explains Lily can stay because she's considered family. Lily introduces herself as his wife, but on the paperwork she's listed as his sister. Zenos is relieved he didn't leave her behind, but then Lily starts hinting at things, and he scolds her, reminding her she has to act like a sister. Carmilla admits she taught her those lines, and Zenos points out that in the hospital there are many healers powerful enough to destroy her, but she doesn't seem intimidated. While they're eating, Zenos asks how he can get his healer's license. Umin explains he has to study for a few years, take an exam, then earn recognition and try to climb up the classes. He asks about the missing people, and she mentions Afrid. He was the deputy head of the lab, a genius who helped Becker develop the cure for red lung. Zenos understands and wants to find him, but before he can, Professor Goldrin shows up, a Class 7 healer and the hospital's vice director. Uman explains, he's just one level away from elite status. But since he took charge, the hospital has been treating fewer poor patients, prioritizing only the wealthy. There are even rumors that he climbed up the classes thanks to noble backing. Worst of all, Afrid disappeared after being transferred to his lab. Uman suggests Zenos should stand out to catch his attention, but Zenos insists there's nothing special about him. A student named Crescent shows up and mocks him, telling him not to embarrass his sponsors. Uman explains that Crescent got arrogant after being recruited into Goldrin's group. In a flashback, we see Zenos' master, Verita, saying that using healing on just any injured person only makes you a third-rate healer, and that first-rate healers are the ones who truly make the world better. Back in the present, Zenos attends a lecture on the undead. The professor explains that specters are the most dangerous of them, capable of speaking, and must be avoided at all costs. Zenos remembers that Carmilla is one of those. Crescent brags about defeating 30 ghosts and asks Zenos about his record. Zenos casually replies he also defeated 30, though in truth, he could have handled far more. The professor doubts him, but Zenos explains that he cleared out an underground area using healing magic, leaving everyone stunned, since even gold-class parties avoid such places. In the next class, on magic circles, Crescent impresses everyone with his drawing. Zenos, recalling a circle his master once showed him, sketches it on the board. It turns out to be an extremely advanced circle for regenerating limbs. The professor calls it impossible to activate, but Zenos activates it effortlessly. Word of this reaches Goldrin, who sees the perfect chance to test him when reports come in about undead rising in the cemetery. The students are sent to deal with the ghosts, but end up surrounded. Zenos saves Crescent with a powerful spell, but Crescent takes all the credit. When the Zombie King appears, everyone pushes Crescent to fight him, but he panics and fails miserably. Uman explains that ghosts tend to gather near powerful undead like this one. Despite Ming insisting they leave Crescent behind, Zenos notices she actually cares. And when Crescent is about to be devoured, Zenos unleashes a massive healing spell to destroy the monster. In the end, he deduces that the surge of undead in the cemetery was caused by Carmilla. She asks if he's going to cast her out, but Zenos thinks it's safer to keep her close, since he can handle her influence. Carmilla calls him weird for wanting to live alongside a specter. The next day, Goldrin's secretary praises Crescent for supposedly wiping out all the undead, saying even other students were impressed. He remarks that Zenos was a disappointment, but Crescent actually corrects him, admitting Zenos was the one who truly defeated the creatures. Soon after, Becker informs Zenos that Goldrin wants to meet him, something rare, since Goldrin is the highest authority in the Royal Hospital. Zenos finds it odd how much political power Goldrin has, since even as an elite healer himself, he never had anything close to that. When they meet, Goldrin says healers shape the history of the nation, and that he wants to join forces with Zenos to strengthen his faction and secure privileges for the nobles within the hospital. He asks to see Zenos' magic circle. After examining it, he's impressed enough to offer him a laboratory. The next day, Zenos joins Goldrin's escorts, recommended by Crescent, who admits he only did it to climb the ranks. They accompany Goldrin as he visits patients, and Zenos watches him heal a twisted ankle using a life transfer spell that drains energy from several donors to speed up recovery. Crescent explains that besides healing, Goldrin is also campaigning to become the new director, since the current one is about to retire. Crescent comments that only Goldrin's favorites are invited to private dinners, which is basically a guaranteed ticket to a bright future. Becker tells Zenos he needs to become one of those favorites in order to investigate more closely, even offering him extra pay. Before leaving for a meeting, Becker throws out a provocative question, whether all lives are really equal. Meanwhile, Linga barges into Zenos' clinic to clean it, but finds Zofia already there. Soon after, Loey shows up with the same idea. The three of them start competing over who's going to be the one to do it first. Back at the Royal Hospital, Crescent introduces Milk, Goldrin's pet, and tells Zenos that from now on he's responsible for taking care of her. On the way, he runs into Bon, Goldrin's first secretary, who criticizes Crescent for sucking up to the boss. Bon tosses a bottle that nearly hits Milk, and she runs off, only to get hit by a carriage. Crescent tries to heal her but fails. Zenos then uses a basic spell and not only saves her, but leaves her without a scratch or any sign of injury. Later, Zenos goes out for a walk with Min, who apologizes for dragging him into this situation, explaining that she wasn't good enough to be recruited. Zenos tells her it's fine, since Becker's paying him anyway, and he's also using the opportunity to learn more about his master. Min reveals that Becker is her uncle, and that he researches medicine storage, something she finds boring, but Zenos values greatly. Their conversation is cut off by Carmilla's voice, dropping hints of jealousy. As they're heading back to the Royal Hospital, Crescent shows up in a panic, desperately begging for their help. So desperate that it's literally a matter of life and death for him. And that's where this part of the story comes to an end. Next week will be the final part of this anime. And if you're curious to see what Zenos is going to do at the Royal Hospital to uncover who made Afrid disappear, and what exactly Goldrin is scheming behind the scenes, you'd better hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss the ending. I'm leaving another video here for you to check out, man. See you in the next anime. Later, bro.